Joining, and it's now just after 2. Let's get Neo to start things off, kick things off, and then we can let you talk about that at the end because there's an interesting question about it in the questions as well. So a nice little segue into that. So we'll cover that off in a second.
Yep. So thank you for being with us today, everyone. There's a recording that will be available on YouTube later. And without further ado, I'll let Hugo start.
Excellent. Well, as always, great to see everybody. Thank you very much for joining us. Um, So much is happening at the moment. 2024. The last 2 months have been crazy, but all for good things. Starts off sort of Denver panel in Denver, East Denver. I was on a panel in deep inside events, which went really well and sort of kicked things off there. And then we've just come back, or some of the team have just come back from Dubai. We had a very successful deep inside event there. As most of you will probably be aware, we had crazy weather. They started playing around with nature, and we got hit with extraordinary rainfall, more rain than in the last 78 years, apparently. So, literally, sort of almost it cut. Basically, the effect was it cut Dubai in half between uptown and downtown, which made it very difficult to get from one side to the other. But I have to say that our event was extremely well attended. We had great speakers. Volvo were there, and we had Drive, the sort of Uber of India, that's based on Web3, and World Mobile were on the panels, and we also had Syntropy there as well. We had it was hosted by James Bowater of Crypto AM fame, and now Digital Commonwealth. So it's great to see him. He brought along some excellent guests as well. And we also had a very interesting panel discussion or a fireside chat with Salvador Gala, who is a GP at EV3, a deep in specific fund. He's very, very sort of knowledgeable and a deep thinker and a critical thinker about all things deep in. So that really added value to the event. And we had a lot of great feedback. You'll probably seen some content coming out of that in our socials, and there'll be more to come from that as well. We also had great networking opportunities as well. My flight got cancelled, and so I then had to spend the next 2 days in Dubai, which actually meant that I met some of the most interesting people. Always the way with these things, but that was great. We met deep in projects like Wairu, PowerPod, Adu, Tess, and also the great sort of very good team from IoTech as well. So there'll be lots of follow-ups and announcements around those as well. And specifically, we'll be announcing a partnership hopefully with Drive soon. So Drive are based out of India and have a very fast-growing community. I think of sort of hundreds of thousands of drivers now out there. They're now expanding out into Dubai, London, and Morocco. So again, expect more news from us on that side of things. I think in general, the deep in community is thriving really well. I think I feel like it has a lot of longevity because it's also looking at real world use cases, which I think is something that the industry is now sort of really sort of getting behind. We also had a lot of chats around our EV charging solution, both sort of with people sort of based in Dubai and also in Asia as well, and a lot of lot of interest there as well. So there's a lot of projects that we're now involved with that are getting a lot of attention. We also met with very interesting teams around building solutions around decentralized AI solutions and looking at how Minima could be part of the sort of data attestation side of things. So again, stay tuned for more information about that as well. In terms of what's coming up next, again, sort of, we're still going at huge speed now. We've got more side events planned. Some of the biggest blockchain events later on in the year. Also, lots of speaking spots. I'll be speaking at the House of Block, Digital Commonwealth Summit Series, London Blockchain Conference, and also some Asian events coming up, sort of September time. And we'll also be letting Paddy loose on the circuit to talk all things decentralization, proof of work, and all things Minima as well. So hold on to your hats for that one. A big announcement that we've also made in Dubai, and which we'll be following up with more information on, is that we are now be launching a significant grants program that effectively aims to sort of support creation of pivotal projects and technologies that will shape decentralized future, all based around Minima, obviously. The number of areas we'll be looking at, looking to support teams that are building central projects on Minima itself, teams with established products on other networks that are looking to port across to Minima, deep in project developers at any stage of their development, and also IoT firms that are interested in integrating Minima into their existing businesses as well. So quite a wide range, but we are putting together the sort of the final points of that in terms of the funding agreements, but also the website that will be sort of housing that as well. So stick to our socials to hear more about that. But again, very excited on that. Also, I can't say too much about this topic right now, but we're also making some exciting progress to get Minima on chip as well. So that is very interesting, and also, in many ways, it's the ultimate goal of a blockchain in terms of decentralization. So you imagine every single device being connected, being part of a network that allows secure transfer of value peer-to-peer. That really was something that was getting people excited while we were in Dubai. So again, we'll be making an official announcement about that soon, but you sort of heard it here first. Then also a lot of talk, obviously, we were there while it was the Bitcoin halving. I think one of the most sort of the most noise during the halving was about sort of the launch of runes, which I saw as a question in the community questions, and which we'll let Paddy talk about, and how we've tackled that already with Minima as well. So yeah, there's lots to talk about, but I'll hand over now to the guys to give you a bit more information on other areas in the business, and then we'll come back to the questions at the end. Thank you. Thanks, Nir.
Thank you. So thank you, Hugo, and it's on to Luke to go over what we've been working on, what's happened in the past few months.
Cheers, Neo. Yeah, where's that last quarter gone? Time flies when you're having fun. So let's recap what we announced in Q1, and then we'll take a look at what we're aiming to do on Q2's roadmap. So in Q1, we announced the outstanding incentive awards were distributed. We announced strategic partnerships with Ycrypt, Streamer, GaiaX, and ABB Cineleap, and an enterprise partnership with LTA Labs. Development started on Minima's enterprise offering for deployment and management of Minima nodes for large-scale applications. And we also announced a new listing for Wrap Minima on Bitsy. Then, of course, as Buddy mentioned, there was a Dubai event, We Are Deep In, which was a resounding success. And off the back of that, we're going to be looking to expand this into its own standalone marketing project, where you can expect more events, more thought leadership, and content that will include a We Are Deep In podcast. That's going to feature thought leaders from across Deep In, so stay posted for more news on that to come. We did, however, need to move two planned announcements from Q1 back into Q2. Firstly, the Community Developer Hub website launch. The site was completed on time and to the original specification. However, with the developer grant funding that was just mentioned by Hugo, which we're going to be announcing this quarter, we took the decision to make some changes to that website in line with that. So we'll now be launching that in this quarter. Secondly, we pushed back the automotive demonstration vehicle announcement as the scope of that project has grown in a very exciting direction, well beyond our initial aims. So it now involves some very exciting partnerships, which we will look forward to revealing to you in the coming months. So now looking at this quarter, as well as what we just mentioned, we look to have news for you on the Minima DAO, as well as further strategic and enterprise announcements. Indeed, we have an ecosystem infographic that we'll be releasing this quarter, which, even though I do say so myself, is really impressive. I look forward to you being able to see that for yourselves. Looking at media coverage in Q1, we were successful in getting a number of things published. Blockster covered Decentraday, CoinDesk and Crypto Slate ran with our YCrypt partnership news. CCN ran an article about DeepIn and chose Minima alongside Ether as the best examples of DeepIn technology. And Crypto News approached us to interview Hugo about DeepIn, what it is, where it's headed, and how we fit into that. So that was good for all of us. So generally, we're pleased with our marketing progress, I should say. Our name is getting out there, and that is translating into interest both in our project by the industry and our tokens by retail. And I'm looking forward to everything we will achieve in Q2. Cheers, Neo.
Thank you, Luke. I did not know about the infographics, so I'm looking forward to that. Now on to Adam with partnerships.
Thank you very much, Neo. Yes, so great things happening on the partnership front. The things that we've just announced or that we can talk about now, I can give you some more details on the 3 partnerships. So the first one is very important, that we've been accepted onto ABB's growth hub called Synerleap. Now, ABB is a Swiss and Swedish global technology leader, basically providing hardware and software solutions across electrification, robotics, automation, motion, and transport. And they have global partners in high energy, providing from domestic wall boxes all the way to high voltage energy. And to be accepted on this growth program is in itself a testament to the technology that we provide. It goes through rigorous due diligence, but importantly, these growth hubs support partnerships between their clients and their customers as well. So it's a very good testament to what we can provide, but importantly, we're going to be supported by their internal BDs to help us reach out to their customers. So this is extremely good and strong for us with our intention to get embedded into industrial IoT. And it leads us also onto the work that we've done on EV charging with our automotive partners. So as you know, we've mentioned this now over the last 6 months, we have been on the road to get a project started to embed Minima as a solution for tokenizing EV charge, allowing wallbox owners to rent their charge to other users. And this is now kicked off. So we'll be able to give you more details about the partner and the application of this in the next AMA. Additionally, we have also been accepted onto Gaia-X's platform or program. And Gaia-X is a European initiative that develops digital governance that can be applied to any existing cloud or edge technology stack. And they are adamant that this type of technology should be used for transparency, controllability, and portability of any institute that wants to allow sharing of data across the platform. Gaia-X has 300 members, and they are all looking to use this type of infrastructure to freely share and exchange data across multiple actors. We've had a very good onboarding with them, and they're very, very interested in Minima as a blockchain that supports their principles. So a lot of good things will happen coming out of that partnership. And finally, in the partnership news, we mentioned last year that we were part of Worldline's Startup Innovation Challenge. We were accepted into the challenge, and we presented our solution for EV charging, which we called Volt. And now we have a live demo in Worldline's Innovation Center in Paris, up and running, so that they and we can demonstrate this as a demo to their partners and to our partners. So this is the first step in the progress to actually get this as a working solution. And we are now working in Minima to embed it into wall boxes. So stay tuned for this information. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. I think I'm going to go a little off course because we were supposed to have Jazmin speak. What I think I'll do instead is actually go through one question from the community, which was on runes, and I'll give it to Paddy so he can start his rambling. Patty, so there was a question from the community, which was basically, what are your thoughts on runes?
Okay, yep. Obviously, runes, ordinals, is a very interesting topic that's been the hot potato for this month. Basically, all of these formats, all of these things that we see happening on Bitcoin are attempts to color coins. So all the things that they're now trying to do on Bitcoin, which doesn't support the idea of tokenization, is how can I assign some sort of color? How can I assign some sort of value to a token, to a coin, to a UTXO on the Bitcoin network if it doesn't support it? Now, this is very interesting because this is the first time we've seen this happen on a UTXO network. Yeah, we've seen ERC20s, and we know on Solana, we know on the account-based systems with massive, centralized, global, state systems that you can do this. An ERC20 is basically just a database that they store on Ethereum. Yeah, and everything you do is just stored into a database, and that is put into the global state, and that's why it's so big. But to do this on a UTXO system is very different because you don't have that. You don't have this global state. So how can you do this? Satoshi was the one who actually, back in the day, and you can color coins. And you can say that, look, this coin is slightly different color from that coin, and so I can tell that this is a special token. We basically do that, only much, much better, because we have colored coins. We call them tokens. And what I will say is that all it costs us is one hash, because anybody who's seen one of the coin outputs, any of you techies who have looked at the way that Minima transactions and Minima coins work, there is one parameter called token ID. Minima's token ID is 0x00, and that's the base currency. And you can only use 0x00 coins to color other coins, and so you come up with a token ID. And I'll have to say, I think mathematically and computer informationally, there isn't a more efficient way of doing that. It's native to Minima. We do tokenization, we do runes, we do ordinals, we do all of that stuff. And now they're trying to do this on Bitcoin. The problem for me is that these have got nothing to do with Bitcoin. These are distinct systems that you plop on top of Bitcoin. I mean, they're cool in terms of, hey, everyone loves tokenization, so let's try and add tokenization to Bitcoin. But there's nothing native to Bitcoin about runes. Yeah. In fact, there's other protocols. I think Atomicals is another one, which is not compatible with runes, which is another way of doing it. Think of it as another ERC20, but non-compatible. So what this means is you have to run two systems. And what this also means is that if you use a normal Bitcoin wallet, you can't use it with runes. And if you use a runes wallet, I suppose you could use a runes wallet with Bitcoin because that comes, that sort of supersedes it. But the two of them fight with each other. Yeah, Bitcoin doesn't know about special sats and all of this stuff. Yeah, it's quite a convoluted system, whereas the runes wallet does. So now you have to be careful about what wallet you're using. Now you have to be careful that you're all using the same protocol. It's like another protocol on top. You can't change the runes protocol without everybody updating to the latest one. Yeah. And there's also a lot of data that needs to be stored to get these things to work. You have to have an index. Some of you who have used runes and ordinals will know that there's a runes indexer and ordinals indexer, which basically gets all the data. It looks on the chain and it just sort of picks stuff out of the chain because of data that you embed in JSONs into certain transactions. The effect to the layman is that, yeah, you have tokens, but the effect to the techie is, I think it's about 400 gigabytes now. Yeah, it's not a small thing. I mean, what they've given you is something very powerful, but because it's not native, because it's not inbuilt, there's a lot of hoops to jump through to get it to work. Ordinals requires whatever. So as a concept, I like it. Tokenization, that's great. Unfortunately, Bitcoin's not really designed to do that. You're going to have to fight to see how this plays out. But, permissionless systems, this stuff is allowed. As I was saying to Hugo, this is actually enabled when they did Taproot because of, the fact that they removed some. Anyway, so they didn't think that this was something that was going to happen, and now it's happened, which is why playing with protocols is really dangerous. This is why you don't want to be touching your base protocol, because whatever you do, you don't know how people are going to use it. You don't know how that is going to play out. And I think this is a classic example of just a tiny thing here that you thought was going to do this, and actually it spawned all of this. So very difficult to tell how your changes are going to impact your chain, whatever you're doing. But the other thing that I really like, I thought about with this runes ordinals things is the fee spike. Yeah, I'm sure all of you have seen what that block 840,000 had. That was people trying to mint stuff, trying to edge stuff, whatever. And the fees absolutely went crazy. Now, the fees were crazy because of demand. So it is not the case that, Minima currently has low fees, but that's because Minima currently has low demand. High fees would mean high demand would mean, that there would be more traffic on the network, that you'd be fighting for block space, and so fees would spike. So that's not the point. But this is the point. Fees need to be high on Bitcoin, on Ethereum, on anything. Yeah, you need to pay your miners. Yeah, if you outsource your security, fees need to be high. And this has some very interesting ramifications, because if fees need to be high, blocks need to be full. Why do blocks need to be full? Because if a block isn't full, then my fee goes to zero, because I don't have to fight to get into the block. Yeah, so fees need to be high means that blocks must be full. And if blocks must be full, then blocks must be small. Yeah, there has to be a restriction of block space so that there is a healthy fee market for that space so that the fees are high. And what this means is that 20 years from now, we've got terabit internet connection, we've got quantum phone data, hardware devices, we've got supercomputers in our phone. Yeah, clearly you're going to be able to handle bigger than 2 or 3, 4, whatever the current Bitcoin block size is. Yeah, clearly your phone is going to be able to handle that. I've got infinite internet speed, I've got infinite data storage. Let's make block bigger. No, you can't do that. Your block must be small, because I have to have people fighting to get into it, because I have to have a high fee, because I have to pay the miner to secure my network. So whatever happens in the future with technology, these blocks can never be big. I know the block size wars was done because they thought that people wouldn't be able to handle bigger blocks at their processing power, and I agree with that. Yeah, obviously the bigger the blocks you make, the harder it is for people to run nodes. But in a future where this isn't even a problem, in a future where we just have supercomputers with super fast internet, super fast everything, you're still going to have small blocks, because you still have to have the fee market, because you have to pay your miners. Yeah. So what happened with the fee spiking like that is always going to be there. And in fact, it does worry me a bit. I sort of wonder whether this is going to be an issue. Yeah. The truth is that 10 years from now, you're not going to be able to use, the base layer for anything less than a $500 transaction, if that, if not $1,000. That's clearly the way this is going. And there's nothing they can do about it, because they can't make the box big, because they have to have the fees. Now we're going to flip this. Now we're going to talk about Minima. What about Minima? Well, on Minima, fees don't need to be high, because our security is not based on fees. Yeah, we don't pay miners. Our security is based purely on the number of users on the network. The more users there are, the more power you're all doing. Cooperative network versus competitive network. And so fees don't need to be high on Minima. Blocks don't need to be full. And if blocks don't need to be full, blocks can be big. And so in this future where we have internet connection speeds of quantum giga megabits, whatever, and loads of data storage and really fast computers, Minima can have big blocks. We can try and fit on as many, transactions as you need. Admittedly, as I always say, you don't want to be on layer 1, you want to be on layer 2. Admittedly, you want to be running on Omnia, when it's instant, rather than running on clunky, slow layer 1. But that's okay. We can have big blocks because we don't need a fee market. And that's something. That's not nothing. But I thought that was very interesting.
All right.
I'll leave
Thanks,
it there.
Patty.
All right.
You'll have your chance to keep going a little later. That was just to fill the time a bit.
All right.
Jazmin, if you want to go for the demo.
Thanks, Neo. Okay, let me show my screen.
Sorry, Jazz, are you about to show the ETH wallet?
Yes.
Yeah, just a quick little rant about this, because I think this is very interesting, because this shows the power of the mini-DApp system. Yeah, very versatile system, the mini-DApp system. Yeah, and this is the first time we've actually written a DApp, which is, we've got 2 dApps coming out, and one is the one that Jazz is about to demo, which is the ETH wallet, and another one is our cross-bridge Ethereum native Minima DEX. Yeah, but the ETH wallet, frankly, has nothing to do with Minima. The ETH wallet is frankly a mini DApp that operates on a different chain, but it works really nicely with the mini DApp system, and you can now distribute applications that don't run on websites. This is basically a MetaMask clone that we've written that we need because we're using this bridge application. So we thought, look, MetaMask is a bit clunky and awful, but really, really nice to see what you can do with the mini dApp. You know, you don't have to be using Minima. Obviously, it works better with Minima because you've got access to this blockchain. But if you want to do other things, you can. So very nice. Sorry, go for it, Jazz.
Yeah, no, exactly. So one of the difficulties we had with our first version of Miniswap was that it wouldn't work with MetaMask on mobile. So that meant that anyone running a node on Android had to use Desktop Connect and then have MetaMask installed on there, and it's all a bit of a hassle and not a great experience. So to get around this, we've built our own Ethereum wallet as a mini dApp, and this means that in the next version of our Miniswap, you'll be able to use this on mobile. So here I've got an ETH wallet just installed on my Minima node. And once it connects, so this is an alternative to MetaMask where you can hold, send, and receive wrapped Minima, Ethereum, USDT, and any other ERC20 tokens. So as in MetaMask, you can import other ERC20 tokens as you please. And interestingly, this actually uses the same seed phrase as your Minima node. So if you lose your Minima node and you need to recover it, then just doing a resync with your Minima node, you'll also recover your Ethereum wallet. So obviously with a Minima node, you have direct access to the Minima blockchain, but with Ethereum and MetaMask, we need a way to communicate with the Ethereum blockchain. And when you use something like MetaMask wallet or any other Ethereum wallet, they will provide their own API keys, usually from Infura. And that means that you don't need to run an Ethereum node, basically. You communicate with the Ethereum node via Infura. So they are a third party in between you and the Ethereum blockchain. So we had the same decision, and we had to make a call as to whether we would act as third party between you and the Ethereum blockchain. But we took the decision, obviously, to remain decentralized. And what that means is that you have to go and create your own API keys from Infura. It takes 5 minutes. It's a free account. So hopefully that won't be too much of an obstacle, but wherever there's a fork in the road and we can choose between a centralized option and a decentralized option, we take the decentralized route. So you will have to get your own API keys for this, but you'll have an Ethereum wallet within your Minima node where you can send and receive ERC20 tokens. And what we've also decided to include in this app is an interface to Uniswap where you can access our wrapped Minima pool. So our wrapped Minima USDT pool. So instead of going to Uniswap, you can access our pool and do a swap directly from within your Ethereum wallet on your Minima node. So I'm running on a testnet fork here, and I've got a balance of 900 wrapped Minima, and I can do a trade directly to USDT within the app. And I've just swapped some wrapped Minima for USDT.
I mean, sorry, I'm just going to say that. Sorry, Jazz. I'm just going to say that I think deserves. Elias has done really well there. That's a separate interface into the Uniswap contract directly on the Ethereum pool. You don't have to go to any website, which means for those of us that understand these things, they can't censor you. Yeah, there's censorship on the Uniswap. On the Uniswap website, they won't let you do it if they don't like you or certain people don't like you. Whereas this way, as a mini dApp that runs without going to a website that you can just send to anybody, no censorship. Nobody can stop you interfacing with that contract, which is really cool. Yeah, that's really nice. No website to go down, as long as you can access it. And just to say, what Jazz was saying, you can do your Infura keys. Obviously, you could also run your own Ethereum node. Not that anybody does that. Yeah, but it was interesting because everybody runs a Minima node, so we always take that for granted. Everybody runs Minima, so you can access all the Minima stuff. Whereas on Ethereum, it's like it's a total nightmare. How are you going to do it? That's the way you're going to have to do it, and that's fine. You're just swapping in and out. But obviously, you could run your own Ethereum node, which would probably be the best way of doing it, and then you could access it that way. But that's a really nice feature. Yeah, Uniswap interface, your own thing, no censorship, no one can stop you, no records either. Yeah, when you go to a website, it checks your IPs. They know everything. They know who you are. Frankly, they know everything about you. When you go to the Uniswap website, now they don't. Nobody knows what you're doing now. I like that. Sorry, Jazz, you go.
Yeah, no, that was all I was going to show. I was just going to say that this will also run alongside our new swap app. So you'll be able to fund your swap wallet with this Ethereum wallet and withdraw from there as well. So we'll hopefully demo that in our next team call if it's not yet out by then. But yeah, really excited to share that.
Yeah, very, very nice. Elias did a beautiful job on that, frankly. But this is like a nice little bridge application. Yeah, it sort of shows how Minima, as I said at the beginning of this year, we're trying to come up with ways of getting in and out of Minima. Yeah, obviously you want to be able to sell your native Minima, you want to be able to swap your wrap Minima, you want to be able to USDT stuff, and that's fine. Yeah, that should be a choice that you can make. And with these applications, this is our first sort of bridge stuff. Yeah, you could make it for Solana, you could do it for. Interestingly, this works with Polygon. We were just worried that there would be too many settings that would scare people, so we haven't added all that functionality. But any of the EVM chains, frankly, could be done in this way, and you could access all of them. And it's like it's the beginnings of our bridge tech. Yeah, to start bridging Minima to other chains using. Think of Ethereum as the side chain of choice. That's what I think of. Yeah, I don't store my wealth in Ethereum; it's kind of zero. But I do think of Ethereum as a place where I can muck about and play, and do stuff if I want to, and then I come back to Minima. Yeah, so. This is the start of our bridge tech.
Yeah, exactly. So should also just show that obviously you'll get your own Ethereum wallet address, so you can send from any MetaMask or other wallet directly to your Ethereum wallet on your Minima node, and you can also swap to different testnets as well. So for testing, we'll be switching to Sepolia, and you can add other custom networks just like you can on other wallets. And here's where you set up your API key. So it will only take you 5 minutes, and you just need to go to Infura and enable 3 endpoints, and then you'll be able to use this Ethereum wallet.
We've got money on how many you're going to be able to do this, but frankly, this is as hard as doing the peers thing. And everybody was scared about the peers thing, and actually you dealt with it beautifully, and everybody's scared about this, but I know you're going to be able to deal with it beautifully. Hugo's normally the test, but we haven't tested it on him yet. We'll see if he can sort it out. It's really easy, yeah, but let's just see.
All right.
Right.
Thank you, Jazz. We're way ahead of schedule. I mean, we've got Paddy, so actually we're okay.
Oh, I can talk.
I mean, is there anything you want to cover, Paddy, or do we just go to the questions and you just?
No, let's do the questions that way. Sometimes there's lots of questions that we don't get through. Let's do it. That's the best bit.
So we're gonna start with the first question, which is for Hugo. /2012 said, I struggle to understand if wrap Minima will keep its value 1-to-1 with native Minima. Basically, when native Minima gets listed, I reckon that's why that. And I'm afraid that it will collapse after native Minima will appear on the market. So, Hugo?
Yeah, I mean, it's very simple answer to that is that Minima will always be redeemable 1-for-1 for native Minima. So, obviously there is a premium at the moment with wrapped because it's more liquid. But obviously there are use cases for Minima native coin. But as Minima native coin has more use cases, then demand for native will grow, and not least as well as we sort of finish our Zephyr integration and then integrate native Minima onto Texas as well, and so all that kind of stuff can take place. But not worry, all wrapped Minima can be redeemed through us for 1-for-1 for native. So there's no issues on that side of things.
Okay. Yeah, I have seen this question a couple times, so I hope that will answer it. There's another question from Diablo731. When can we launch a Minima non-node wallet that is easy to list on the exchange? Jazmin or Patty?
What's the question?
When can we launch a Minima, basically a Minima wallet that's not on a node that can be integrated with an exchange or?
Oh, you mean a custodial wallet or a
Yeah.
non-custodial wallet?
I mean, something
We're
that
working on
is
that.
running a node.
Well,
So currently I'm working on Coinbase stuff. Currently I'm working on Rosetta integration. And if we get that sorted, and if Coinbase decide to be nice to us, you'll be able to store your coins on Coinbase. And in fact, I think Binance also supports Rosetta. So once we've done this Rosetta integration, and if one of those exchanges goes for it, then you'll be able to, sort that out. I mean, frankly, I think quite a few of the exchanges use Rosetta. So once we've done this, then hopefully we'll get on some of these exchanges and you can just use that. Not that I think you should, but that is one way of doing it. We have got some other stuff in the works in the background. I'm not sure if we have mentioned this before. We've got this public MDS system, which allows you to actually run a semi-non-custodial wallet from your node that somebody else can log into. I'm still mucking about with that because that's very important for the Coinbase integration, and that'll be in the next build. So the build we're about to launch is 1.0.41. You're on 1.0.40, and in 1.0.42, you will have all of this nice new cool tech, which allows you to have just a wallet with a website without having to run a node. You'll have to log into somebody else's node. Obviously, somebody needs to run it. And we'll definitely be on some exchange by then. It depends which one gives us the fingers. But we're working on that. So soon, hopefully.
Yeah,
It's not
well,
really up
that
to
also,
us, is it?
and I mean that also will be non-custodial in that you'll have your login and also your own seed phrase. So it'll be something. So that's very cool. So it'll be easy access, but also complete non-custodial.
Yeah.
Okay.
Soon.
Yeah. Thank you. Well, we've gone over that in the past, so we did mention it. It's Mega MMR. But on to the next question. Kleinschbeck asked, are new partners possible in the field of medicine? So, Adam?
Yeah, I can take that. So if we are now referring to sort of healthcare and apps and use cases about our own health, then there's a lot of interest in blockchain for securing privacy, obviously. And Minima is ideally suited for applications where you want censorship resistance and security around your own data. So your own health records, your medical records that are normally kept by doctors and shared between hospitals. There's a lot of very strong use case for blockchain, and there's no other blockchain that's more suitable when you yourself are in charge of your own data. So that is a very good use case. Equally, sharing data for clinical trials, speeding up the information between clinical trials, making it transparent and secure, and equally your own medical data relating to insurance companies. So all this is very applicable. We don't actually have live projects right now, but we have spoken to several companies in the past that are very interested in this capability. One of them is the ability to share live health data on iPads or on smartwatches, connected smart devices directly related to your health. And we've been working on DPIN, as you know, but there's also similar ideas in healthcare where you can get rewarded for sharing some of your biometrics or some of your data to help understand diseases. So it's something that is certainly possible, and we are very open for these type of collaborations.
Okay, thank you, Adam. Another one for you. It's a two-part question from Gorasio. When will we demonstrate working versions of the vehicle charging stations that were presented?
So, as mentioned earlier in my presentation, we already have a working demonstration of what we've called Volt app, so the ability to tokenize EV charging. Upon payment, you get a unique one-time access token to grant you access to an EV charge. The charge then dispenses the charge, and on a full charge, you get a receipt. So that is now live in the Innovation Centre in Worldline in Paris, which they and we can demonstrate to our partners. In terms of the actual rollout, this is something that has started. We are currently working to embed Minima on wall boxes that will be part of a global OEM that is going to be releasing their high-end electric vehicle in Europe at the end of this year. So we are on track, and certainly we will be demonstrating the outcome of this project.
Okay, thank you. And the second part of this question was, when will the result of your work with the Porsche Camel team be shown?
Yes, so last year we were in Monaco, and we were very happy to be part of a sponsorship for a Porsche Super Cup team. And that initial interaction with the Super Cup team has led to further interactions with motorsports teams. And we are currently working on a project for embedding Minima on data recorders that are going to be live in live circuits. So that is exciting, and certainly something that we will be mentioning in more detail when we are permitted to.
Thank you, Adam. On to the next question. Oh, wait, never mind. That's the question that Paddy replied to before about runes. So I'm just going to go. There's a question in the chat regarding the iOS node. Do we have any updates?
Actually, I'll take that. So Apple totally screwed us. Yeah. They were meant to open up the App Store so that you could sideload an application, and any of you who have been following that debacle will notice that Apple said, yeah, you can sideload via a different app store, but you need to pay us as the guy who wrote the app 50 cents per app. So if you get 1 million downloads, you need to give us £500,000. Well, you know what I mean? What do I get? $10 million. I've got to give you £5 million. So frankly, Apple have made it still impossible to sideload an application, which means you have to go through the App Store, which I think is really, really bad. Yeah, I'm sure you will think the same thing. So that is going to take some work, because Apple have very strict policies about what the sort of applications that can go on. You can have a light client, we could do something fancy, we could do something like that, but to have a full minimum node is just not, frankly, I think we could do it with our discussions with ARM. Yeah, they're going to need a C version. They're going to need a version that can run on chip, blah, blah, blah. That always requires FPGA, C, that sort of thing, which means you could then compile it and run on iPhone. So that's not a problem. As I said, me and Elias actually got a version working on iPhone. It's whether Apple, almighty Apple, is going to let us onto their App Store or not. And unless we do something funky, I'm just being honest with you, I just don't think they're going to let us on. They don't like anything that uses battery, yeah, and they don't like anything that, does proof of work. So there are political restrictions which stop us from, just launching. And we were hoping that when they said, look, you can go on a different app store and you can be installed, that would have been great. But they've totally ruined that. And frankly, I hope they get sued, which I think the EU is about to do, to say, look, that wasn't the spirit of the, the law, and you totally lied to us and you haven't done what we've asked you to do. So we'll have to see. If that were the case, then we could do it. I just think the amount of effort we're going to have to put in to get an iOS version just to be turned down by Apple is currently not worth it. Sorry, lads. As soon as we know we can get on. Yeah.
Yeah, but that said, though, with the mega wallet, that will allow an application to
that's different. Yeah, that's fine. We can do the
still access to Minima.
Do all of that
via iPhone.
Yeah, but not the full Minima node. So realistically, with the Rosetta integration, Coinbase, will probably be your best bet, because once they do it, then you can get access to it, and that'd be nice. I'm sure that's fine. But if you want a full Minima node, which is the only one I'm interested in, that's going to take some time, and not because of the tech, but because of Apple. Send them a letter. Say, oi.
Okay, thank you. There's a question that I missed from Ravenkoeva 888. And they ask, is it possible for Minima Coin to interact with the Tron network? And does the team have any plan of collaborating or integrating these two blockchains?
I'll take that. Tron's EVM. So frankly, if you want to integrate with Tron, you just need to swap over. But Bridge, mini swap 2, whatever we're going to end up calling it, is the chain. So, how do you get onto how do you interact with Tron? Well, you got to get Tron coins. You got to swap native Minima for Tron and then back again. That's the way to integrate with these chains. You just got to jump over onto there, do what you need, and then jump back. There is the fluctuation in price, which is why I sort of think that eventually all of these chains will just become peg 1-to-1 with the winning coin, so you don't have to worry about the liquid is the way to go. No offense. You want a side chain that is 1-to-1 pegged with your chain. That's the best way of doing it. But for now, we could actually enable Tron. It's EVM. I bet it actually works on exactly the same format as Infura. So we'll have a play. I thought they'd killed Tron. I thought USDT removed themselves from Tron, so there was no point using it anymore. But there you go.
And
there's a question that came up in the chat earlier, and I think it could be actually quite interesting if we all gave our opinions on it. Coming from Zevago 1973, and he says, thank you for the amazing developments and progress. Just a very general question. Which aspect of the Minima growth journey do you find most challenging and why? So I know what my answer is.
Go on then. What's your question? You answer first, then Neo, and I'll come off after that.
I mean, it's past now, but I think the hardest part we had in the journey was the fact that we weren't on the radar up until recently. And that's partly due to the bear market that we were going through when we launched. We're out of the woods now, but I think that was the hardest part.
Cool. The social aspect, the awareness aspect, I think. I mean, that's obviously, we've been working hard on that. And actually, it sort of leads in a little bit to my answer on that. I think there are some things that we're in charge of, specifically from technical perspective. And as we know, there's very little that Paddy and his team can't overcome from a technical aspect. It's more to do with the non-technical aspect in terms of a growth journey with regard to getting to where everyone is. And although we talk about decentralization, there's still huge amounts of activity on the centralized exchanges, and that's where people go to. A lot of the sort of retail investors go to, and everything like that. And so for us, really, sort of a major stage in terms of our growth, in terms of bringing new users and new awareness to the project, is getting onto the centralized exchanges. Obviously, we're working on the technical side, but the bigger other challenge is the size of volume and liquidity. And so, that is a big challenge, because obviously, centralized exchanges only care about, they care about the regulation, they care about the technical integration, they care about the security of the network and all that kind of stuff. We've got all that covered. The one thing they really care about is how much transaction volume they're going to get, so that they can take their fees. And that is, the biggest challenge. But as I say, as you've seen over the last couple of months, now that we've started really sort of getting the right sort of partners on board from a sort of an awareness building perspective, our KOL involvements, and also be announcing a media partnership soon, and also creating content, and then gets out there to educate people on all the great things that Minima has to offer, why it stands apart, why it's a great solution, both sort of for everyday users, but also for enterprise clients. That is the ever changing challenge that we have. There are a lot of projects out there who've got huge sort of sandbags of cash that they've been accumulating over the previous bull runs. And even if they're not very good projects, they still have a lot of noise to make. And so it's cutting through that. So that really is the sort of the challenge we have. But again, we're sort of getting ourselves into place for that, in terms of the progress we're making, the announcements we're making, and also just where we're where we're actually operating now in terms of sort of events and podcasts. And we'll also be doing our own series as well. So all of those things really. So that is the bits that are outside of our control. But we're now working very hard to make sure that we are making as much noise and driving as much awareness as possible. That's my answer from my side of things.
A V1.0 now. Yeah, we got a good version now. That has taken however long it's taken and however many sleepless nights, but we've got over that technical challenge, and now we can do all the interesting, cool stuff. Yeah, now we can actually start working with the chain and integrating with websites and exchanges and all of that. So that technical challenge was tough. Yeah, that was stressful, wasn't it, Jazz?
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit, but we were over that now, so that's cool. Yeah.
So one more question I can see from Rakitos about, are there any other projects making the same, I'm assuming doing the same as Minima? I mean, from my perspective, in all the conversations that I have in the conferences and with the investors and people within the industry, I can safely say, and again, get your view, Paddy, is that literally no one else doing it the way that we're doing it. I mean, most chains are now gone POS. And are finding ways of trying to scale like that. But there really are no other projects that are doing full nodes, literally both constructing and validating on devices. So that is something that is absolutely unique to what we're doing. But it makes
Yes, I don't understand why, sir. I don't understand why. This is like, why haven't they cottoned on to the fact that this cooperative network versus competitive network has so many advantages? Yeah, there are disadvantages, like we need lots of users, but there's so many advantages. Yeah, there's so many things that this fixes, this fee market thing, this block size
I know
thing.
what it is, Paddy. It's because projects are trying to work out how to make money. And what we're doing is we're enabling,
trying to save the world. Yeah.
Well, it's always been the case that we're more important. What's more important is that we create something that's completely decentralized, and then we know that people will use it because it's decentralized. And currently, projects are just working out how can I stick myself in the middle. And as we turned all our servers off at the end of last year, we're not interested in making money out of running the servers or the systems. We are on the basis that fixed cap supply. As use cases come along, demand drives, and that will be the way to give value to Minima. So I think that's really the sort of crux of it.
Yeah, sorry. Can I have just one more second? Which is the thing I was talking about earlier about fees don't need to be high. The other really nice thing about that is that makes L2s work. So a lot of you may have noticed that everyone's getting a little bit upset about L2s because they're saying they're parasitic of the layer 1 chain. Yeah, Polygon pays Ethereum $40 and makes 40 million out of fees or whatever. It makes 40,000 and it pays Ethereum $40. And everyone's like, well, how's that going to work? You know what I mean? How are you going to secure? Because Polygon is a layer 2. Every layer 2 inherits the weakest security assumptions of all the layers below it. So the security of Polygon can never be more than the security of Ethereum. I mean, it can never be more than 4 or 5 because that's what the multi-sig wallet gives you. So there's nothing on Polygon which is more secure than 4 or 5. Even if you did an 11 of 20 multi-sig on Polygon, it would only be a 4 or 5. That's not the point. So these layer 2s take all the fees from layer 1. We've known about this for ages because the Lightning Network does the same. And when you say, look, everything's going to have to go on Lightning, which is where it has to go, how are you going to pay for the security of your layer 1 if 99% of the transactions are on layer 2? Yeah, if 99% of the transactions occur on Lightning, you're not paying any fees on layer 1, which means that you're going to have to secure 100% of all of the layers with 1% of the transactions, which means they have to be 100 times more expensive. Otherwise, it doesn't work. Yeah, you're not making your layer 1 secure by taking all the traffic off and giving all your fees to layer 2. This doesn't affect Minima. Yeah, because fees don't need to be high. And because fees don't need to be high, you can all go and play on layer 2. You can all go and play on Lightning. You can pay your Lightning routers as much as you need to. Yeah, all of that can occur without affecting the security of layer 1. So that's another benefit of the cooperative network. You're welcome.
Thank you, Paddy.